Good.
So glad to be back with you, Vajra. And, I want to talk a little bit about you're an actress. You write plays. You've got a theater that you've been involved with. And that's such another wonderful way to deliver information. So talk to me about how did you come to that, and what is on your plate right now in relationship to that part of your life?
Well, what's on my plate right now is we're working towards doing a full production of the play I've written called Medea Everywoman. And this is a revisioning of the myth of Medea. And just to sort of recap for people, it's a Greek myth, and it's Medea is known for being the woman who murdered her children, supposedly in revenge. So she fell in love. She was lived in, I just lost it, where she lived. She lived along the Black Sea, and she fell in love with Jason of the Argonaut. Jason of the Argonauts, who came on search for the Golden Fleece, which was held in her country. And the Golden Fleece had protective powers. So Jason came there to steal it. The Golden Fleece, and Medea fell in love with him, and she helped him magically to win the Golden Fleece and steal it. And they sailed off back to Greece, homeland of Jason, and they lived there for 10 years. She bore him 2 sons, and then he dumped her for the king's daughter. And as it's the old thing, he dumped her for the younger woman and a better, political ladder to climb. So supposedly, and of course, Euripides wrote this play back in Greece. Medea was a real woman. She really lived. And she supposedly murdered her children in revenge. Murdered the 2 sons in revenge. Now, that was not really the original, story. The original story, she didn't murder them. And I didn't know that when I wrote my revisioning. So when I started to read the play, which is the Robinson Jeffers version, the adaptation of Euripides' version, I also read his version, the Greek version. I saw elements in there that had never been, I saw it from a feminist perspective. And I saw, I believe, and in my version, she is doomed. The children are doomed. She's exiled by the king, King Creon, because, she could be revengeful. So Creon, the king, is going to, after she's been dumped by Jason, is going to exile her. And so she knows that she's doomed if she leaves her sons behind. She has to leave her sons behind. And they're doomed because they're going to be murdered because of, they're a threat to the throne. They're Jason's sons. So she murders them out of mercy. Slaying her own flesh, her own heart, to keep them from being, better they die at the hands of she who loves them than at the hands of those that hate them. Now, in my version, takes place with 3 women who are dreaming. It starts with 3 women who are dreaming, and there's like dreaming about the earth burning up and smoke, and children are dying, and the water's drying up, and they'd realize that they're having the same dream. These 3 different women come together. We're having the same dream. We're still in the dream. And they all feel like they should call upon Medea for resolution. And that doesn't make sense to them because Medea murdered her children. So why should we call on a murdering mother to save the earth, right? But they get this, information from the cauldron and, magically, that if Medea will tell her story, promise Medea that if she tells her story, she retells her story, she will discover the deepest motive of her deed. And that's what you need to know in order to save the earth and save humanity.
So as this play is unfolding that you're writing, the earth is being doomed, and yet these women have this dream. And in the dream, they say, what is Medea? What's the deeper reason for Medea's actions? What's really going on there? And that's key. It's a very important key in order to change what's going on the planet. Am I right
Yes,
so far? Got it. Okay.
totally. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Yes, because these are modern day women that are dreaming this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, so Medea doesn't want to tell her story. They dredge her up out of this river Styx, and she's still in grief and anguish, and she just wants to be obliterated, and to be in oblivion. And but she's forced by the magic to tell her story. Tell your story, Medea, and you shall rise from the shrouds of grief, reborn.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the promise. And so Medea doesn't really have a choice. Whenever she wants to like renege from telling the story, the magic comes in on her and she's in pain. So she tells her story, and in her telling of her story, she discovers things herself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. And so she discovers one thing is that she remembers her relationship to the dragon. See, the dragon in the story, classically, she has to put the dragon to sleep. She has to charm the dragon asleep in order to get past the dragon who guards the Golden Fleece. And so she, as she's retelling that, she remembers, oh, there was a look in the dragon's eye before she pours the portion into the eye. And she remembers that she had, as a young girl, when she came to her first blood, she should tell her mother, because it would be celebrated in that culture at that time. But she feels compelled to go to the dragon first, and she goes to the dragon. And the dragon looks at her, and that's the dragon.
Yeah, the dragon.
And the dragon's making the phone call.
That's
the dragon
right.
looks at her, and she remembers that look. And for one moment, the dragon opens its eyes and lets her see into herself, the dragon. And there she saw infinite grief. Because the dragon communicated to her that the dragon is guarding a treasure that was once her own. It was her treasure. It didn't belong to the men. It didn't belong to the countries. It didn't belong to war. It didn't belong to thievery. It was her own. And Medea realizes then, she knew that when she leapt from that altar with Jason in one arm and the fleece at the other, she leapt from one slavery to another. But she couldn't look at that. Wow. So there's one thing after another that Medea discovers in that process about herself and about her own complicity, about her own self-deceit.
Yes.
Yeah. But ultimately, what she comes to as she recounts the tale, recounts giving a wedding gift to Creusa, the new bride, which actually engulfs her and melts her. And Creon, the king, tries to save her, and he melts too. That's what she did. As she's recounting what she did, out of her anger for that revenge, she sees, all of a sudden, she sees this vision of our world history. She sees the witch burnings. She sees the foot binding. She sees the genital mutilation. She sees the hero rampaging across the earth, one after another, destroying the earth, war. And she goes, this, and she sees Hiroshima. So there's all these myths of dragon and of fire throughout the play. And she says, this is worse than anything that came from my cauldron. This is an attack on life itself.
Wow. Yeah, really. Wow.
And should I leave it to the people to find out what the deepest motive of her deed is? Because she discovers it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
but you are in process right now. And you live in Oregon, and you have a theater
Southern Oregon
there. And is that where you're going to present this first? Is that your theater?
Well, we had a play reading down in Ashland. We live an hour north of Ashland. We had a play reading, very well received, and got some incredible testimonials of it. We have yet to find the right cast, the right actresses in this area to play that. Grants Pass I'm living near Grants Pass. I don't want to do it down in Ashland. So We're having a challenge in finding the right cast.
Yes.
So at this point, we're going to start doing a workshopping of working with the women who are interested in what I call somatic arias, which are vocal and movement and drum and rattle and bell working through the body to bring out the motifs of the play.
Okay.
You know, the emotional motifs.
Yeah.
So we're in pre-production. And I would love anybody who's interested, who we are open to this being produced in any theater across the country.
I think it.
So if somebody hears this and they want to produce it, you know, it's available.
Yeah, I think it's the time, don't you? It's
yes,
time.
I do. It's really the myth for our time. It's a prophetic myth for our time. Should I divulge what the deepest motive of her deed is?
I can see that. I know. I want to know, and I know listening want to know, and I know you want to say it. Well,
I could leave it as a cliffhanger.
Yeah, but then, like, even if it's
I'll share it.
Yeah, please.
I'll share it.
Yeah.
Because what she realizes through all of this is, now I realize the deepest motive of my deed. Nothing from me shall come forth into this world. I will not give you life for you to use it to destroy. I worded it better in the actual play, but that's basically what it is. Nothing from me is going to come forth into this, you know, carnage.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to produce for you anymore, just so you can use that to destroy.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
And that was the deepest motive of her deed.
And therefore, she took back her the two that were there. She took them back.
Yes.
They couldn't
took them back.
Put into that culture machine of destruction to that.
Yes, exactly. I don't birth life so that you can destroy it.
Perfect. Yeah, really.
No.
Wow. I mean, you're doing so many ways. I'll call them different delivery systems that I just want to applaud you on the fact that here you have this wisdom, experiential and deeply held, and you have been out in the world with it this way and with this way and with it this way, and it's so valuable as part of what women are needing, so that we can get back to who we are as souls in a female body, you know.
Yeah. And that's what theater does more than anything. It touches the soul. It goes to that level.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much. And of course, how people can connect with you will be right in the description of all of your interviews. And so, love you. Love what you're doing. We're keeping a holding hands.
Thank you, Sharon.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Until we meet
again. Until we meet again.
Yeah. Bye.